Hi, it's Ms. Cobble again, and this time we're going to be looking at problem solving with time. If you have not watched the other videos, make sure you look at them before you go to do your assignments for this week, because time is included this week, as well as money and then other measurement conversion. All right, so to talk about time, let's start with our first slide. So this week, you will encounter situations to where you may be given a start and an end time. For example, like if I look here, the start, in this example, we're starting school at 7:55 a.m. and we're ending school at 10:15 a.m. So if I'm trying to find out how long are we in school, this is what I would do. So I would make it almost look like a number line. So notice here on my number line, the first thing I do is I put the start time. So if I start at 7:55 a.m., that's what I'm going to label it. Okay, so here's the next part that we try to make it as easy as possible. So this isn't a random guess, but I know that, okay, from 7:55 to 8:55, that's 1 hour. If I go one more hour, that gets me to 9:55. So I can easily add 2 hours here and get me to 9:55 a.m. Okay, I'm still good because that's before 10:15. Okay, so now again, we want to make this as easy as possible. Now, I recommend you always go to the hour just to keep the math easy. So if I add 5 minutes here, that gets me to 10 a.m. But then I know, okay, to get to 10:15, I need to add another 15 minutes. So the length of time that I'm doing school in this situation, if I add 2 hours plus 5 minutes plus 15 minutes, that's the same as 2 hours and 20 minutes. I would just combine those minutes here. The big thing that you have to remember is whatever the start time is, that's what you start with here. Start by asking yourself, can I add hours to get me closer to that end time? Then, how do I get to the closest hour to make my math easy? And then what else do I need to add to make my end time? So this is actually the end time. Okay, so this is one situation that you may encounter, like a start and an end time. You may also see something like this. So let's just say that I was tracking my exercise for the week and I was doing bike riding, walking, and running. So this week, let's just say, I rode my bike for 4.5 hours, I walked for a fourth of an hour, and I ran for 2.5 hours. So if my question is how much time was spent exercising during the week, I would need to combine everything. So I would go over here, 4.5 plus a fourth plus 2.5. Now, my first thing that stands out to me here is I have decimals and fractions going on at the same time. Let's either get it all decimals or all fractions. I think most of you are probably more comfortable with decimals, so that's how I did it this time. All right, so I know 4.5, that's not going to change. Now, 25 hundredths. If I think, okay, what's a fourth of a dollar? Well, there's 4 quarters in a dollar, so that's 25 cents. So that's my equivalent decimal to 1/4. Then if I come in, this is already a decimal, I'm good there. So now I just combine. So 4 and 5/10, I put my placeholder 0 here to make sure everything's lined up by place value. So I go in and combine all 3 numbers, and I end up, I spent 7.25 hours, or 7 and 25 hundredths hours exercising last week. Remember placeholder zeros, and do not let it frustrate you if you start to see fractions. The minute you see that fraction, convert it to a decimal to make it much easier to combine. All right, so those are my few examples on time. As you go through, if you need more help or need time to practice, let your teachers or I know, and we will help you. Use the number line to solve. I promise it will help so much. You always just start out with that start time, if you have a start time, and add to it. And then if you have decimals and fractions, make the conversions. Don't see a fraction and it all of a sudden become hard. Make it a decimal to where it's all the same. I hope this helps, and I will see y'all soon.